Okay, welcome to the Somewhere Over the Rainbow 4-day free training. I would like to thank everybody for registering, showing up. This is very exciting. So this is in honor of Forrest Kinney, who is not only an amazing educator, he created groundbreaking and innovative new methods that opened up creative ways for people to improvise all over the world, but he also was a very kind-hearted and generous and warm human being. So unfortunately, he passed away in late 2019, and I am helping to keep his legacy going. So this is the first in sort of a 2-week series that I'm doing. So we have this 4-day training where we're learning all about one of his favorite pieces, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And then next weekend, I'm hosting a virtual retreat called Piano Connect, where I've assembled 8 of my all-time favorite Dream Team presenters, including our guest teacher today, Leela Viss. And the event is called Piano Connect. And if you're interested in joining us, please take a look at pianoconnect.org. And at the end of this training, since we only have about 15 minutes, I'm going to play a recording of Forrest improvising off of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So if you have time at 10:15, feel free to stay on and listen to that. So I'd like to welcome Leela Viss. She worked very closely with Forrest, and she's an incredible educator and a human being, and she has a wonderful blog called 88 Piano Keys. Is that correct, Leela?
It's now just called leelaviss.com.
Okay, so leelaviss.com is the best place to find it. And you'll definitely want to follow her because any information I've ever heard her deliver is just so helpful and always entertaining yet very informative. So thank you so much to Leela. She's going to teach us some introductions and some endings for Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So take it away, Leela.
Thank you, Paula. That was very nice. Can everyone hear me? Okay, good. Thank you. And thank you all for being here. I can't see all of you. I can see some of you, and I have to kind of page through. So I'm just going to continue on. And if you do have questions, let me know. And I will give you a little time to practice every little tidbit. Now, I feel like this is doing something just a little bit backwards than what I would normally do. Normally, I would dig into the lead sheet, have fun with it. What chords do I want to add? But I know you're going to get into that this week. But today was the only day that really worked for me to join Paula. So we're starting from the end in some ways. And that's when I usually add an intro or an outro to a tune. So you're going to have to kind of just hold this close. And then as you work on your arrangement, you can decide what intro and outro that you have. Now, I was only going to show you one option because I was going to try and practice restraint and constraint. Sometimes that's one of the best things that we can do as creators is just limit the possibilities because otherwise we get that sense of overwhelm. But I decided to just the church organist pianist in me had to give kind of the logical ones first. And then I want to show you the really cool hip one. Okay. So the very first one is, and I'm going to give you names for them. I don't have a handout, but I feel like if you have a name for the tools in your back pocket, then a friend of mine had said, in order to grasp something, it needs a handle. You need to call it something. So if you have these names in your back pocket, you'll be like, oh, I can use this one. So the very first one is called Borrow from the Beginning. Now, what I'm looking at is the tune, and I have Paula's lead sheet right here. And the beginning starts with the C chord, and then the A minor, and then the E minor. So pretty right there. And I think that's a great intro, but there's something about the 5 chord that really helps set the stage for where we're going to go and when we're going to actually start the real thing. So when I recommend using the borrow from the beginning, can you take that first part go to the 5 chord, and then we're like, oh, okay, now we know when to sing, and then we could start the piece. So now, why don't you give that a try? Let me just show you the one little thing, and you know what? I'll flip my camera here so you can see my hands, and I'm going to do it one more time. Here's your C chord, just went back to B. That was kind of a nice voice leading. And then it goes, you hear? And then you can work your way into that melody. So if you'd like to, why don't you give that a try? Now I know I added some fancy left hand things there. And so if you want to just use a simple bass line, and then begin. All right, so I'll give you what? A minute?
So I haven't shared the lead sheet with them, but we're doing it in C major. If you could just figure out the melody, it starts on C with the octave to the B. And as she just played, it has the C, moving to the A.
Minor, and then the E minor. I'll show my hands one more time. So sorry, I didn't know they would have that. So here we go. Here's your C, and then down to A. And I would just keep it really basic for right now, especially because you're working on that melody. And so something like that. Ooh, I heard some nice things. I don't think everybody was unmuted, and I heard some nice things. So that's a pretty easy way to go about that. So now that was an intro. And what I like to do is I like to book in. If you're going to do the intro, then you kind of want to borrow from that same thing for the outro. So you could do, once you get done, you could add that for a little outro if you wanted to. Use that same thing. So you're borrowing from the beginning, but you're ending on the 5 chord for the intro and the 1 chord for the outro. So let me know if you've got questions. I'm going to continue on, and then I can always answer them at the end. So the next way that you could think about adding an outro would be to tag the ending. Now, a tag is just taking a little bit of the tune. And so I'm doing the last 2 measures. That's the melody of the just the last little bit. And the chords are D minor, G, 2, the 1 chord, okay? But now remember, if we're going to add this to the beginning, you could do something like the D minor chord to the G, now to the G again, and stretch that G out, and then start from there. So that is called tag the ending. So why don't you give that a try? I'll do it one more time so you can see what the chords are. So D minor, or D in the left hand, to G, and then that would be your ending or your intro. End on the G. So I don't know if I've confused you by going back and forth between those, but let me know if you've got questions. Let's see. I don't, there's not, is there a room for chat? Oh yeah, here we go. I've opened up the chat, but I'll play it one more time. Let's see, just in case you're watching this video, you can hear this. So here would be a tag the ending intro. Go back to the G, and then here. And then here's a tag the ending outro. And what you could do is maybe up an octave. that to elongate it or just add that official ending. Okay, so any questions? Paula, how am I doing? Any questions?
You're doing great.
Okay.
So I'll send everyone that lead sheet this afternoon, and then you can watch the replay and try it with the lead sheet. But
Good.
very clear to me.
I'll try and keep playing while you're practicing so that you can hear it again too, because I know that's nice. Okay, now we've got borrow from the beginning, tag the ending, and those are really good for intros and outros. Intro, always end on the 5 chord. Outro, always end back on your 1. That's kind of all formulaic, but it works. And those are the things you want in your back pocket. Okay, now here's the one that I think is cool that you could have a lot of fun with, especially it could be an intro, it could be an outro, but it also could be an interlude, something that you could add in between your arrangement to just make it really cool. And everybody be like, oh, that is such a neat addition to it. And I'm eager to hear what Forrest did, because he maybe even did some of that as well, where he went off just a little bit on his own away from the tune. So here is the meat of it, and I want to do the theory behind it. So I'm going to show my camera here so that you can see my hands. So basically, this intro and outro is based on the 1, the 4, and the 5 chords, and we're talking about the key of C. And then what's unique about it is that it's using a pedal point. So you're going to keep C on the bottom, even when your chord changes in your right hand. And already it has a cool sound to it, okay? But that's the theory behind it. But now I'm going to break it down just a little bit more. So I'm going to play that C chord first of all, which I was playing here, and I'm going to just skip the E. So just an open 5th. And now I'm going to go to the F chord, but I'm going to keep that C on the bottom and just play the A right there. And then I'm going to go to the G chord. And again, I'm just playing that B. It's not the whole G chord, but it kind of gives it that sense. And it also has that really cool major 7 sound, which is always fun to hear. So already that's really nice to listen to. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that open 5th. Now my right hand is not going to quite copy it. See how it was missing that E? So my right hand's going to grab that E of that C chord. And then it's just going to grow along with my right hand. Now, can anybody guess where I'm stealing this from? Okay, I'll give you a hint. Before I say, does anybody have a guess?
Piano Man?
Ah, yay! Exactly, Piano Man. Okay, but now we can't sound just like Piano Man with Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So that's where your creativity comes in, okay? So I was just kind of messing around with this. So I could do... You know, I just was... I don't know, I didn't even have that much time, but it was fun just coming up with new ideas. And what the other thing, that melody starts with an octave, and that's kind of a fun. I don't know, I'm just kind of messing around, but I encourage you to do a little bit of that. Okay, so take a little bit of time to do that right now, and I will just keep playing. I'm just going to kind of keep experimenting.
Leah,
Yes.
Sheila wants to know if there's a name for this.
Okay, yes. Okay, well, we're going to call this Billy Joel. Because this is Billy Joel's intro, right? So now when you want to unpack this one, you're like, oh, I'm going to do Billy Joel. And then you're going to remember that one, okay? So yes, this is your Billy Joel intro. Okay, so do I have more questions? I want to talk a little bit about how you now take that and make it into an introduction. Excuse me, because it's such fun to play. We could just loop that over and over, but we got to stop and go to our tune. So I might do something like this. And then play a G, because there's your 5 chord, and then we get to, and then we can go on from there. But playing that, sneaking in that little G, and that could just be on beat 4 if you're doing 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're just sneaking it in there, and right away we can hear that we're going back to that 1 chord. And then for the ending, I've got a little treat for the ending, which is kind of fun. If you were going to do this, and then this is a really fun way to end. So what this is, I've got my G, there's my G, and I could play a G chord. I could play a G7 chord. Still sounds a little classical. What if we put a 4 over it, the 4 chord, and add it? I like that D above it, which actually makes it a D minor. I'm getting really nerdy here with all the theory, but that gives it a really cool sound. And then, oh, this is what I had fun doing with them. Then I did a little tag ending. And adding something like that at the end. So let me go through that again so you see what I'm doing. And then here's that cool chord. And then maybe a little tag. And then I love 9 chords, if you can't tell. The D is a 9 when you're playing a C chord. There's your major 7, adding that 9 chord, so pretty. And then when you just play D and G, those have some really cool sounds. If you're playing a C chord, and then you add those 2 at the top, it makes it really pretty. Okay, what kind of questions do I have? We've got borrow from the beginning, tag the ending, and Billy Joel. What else do you need? Any questions?
Okay, question. Are there suggested theory chords to come with this? Well, I'll send out the lead sheet today, and it will have the melody with all of the chords. And I think when you have the lead sheet and you see what Leela has done and which chords she's used, it will make.
And I'm happy to make something. This is kind of, like the call to action now. Okay, come and check out the piano retreat next week, and I'll have all the little goodies for you in a nice little package. This was kind of just diving in, dipping your toe in. But what I noticed too, okay, yes, you need to have it written down first, but the more you know your theory and the more you've got a name for something, it's going to help you remember that pattern. And the more, and studies also show, the more you struggle to remember, actually that's the more you're going to remember it as well. So I'm happy if you want to email me at elvis@me.com. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I can quick send you a little video of what I did or a little rundown of it. I just wanted to whet your appetite as you go through this training for the next couple of days to think about, what may be good for an intro. You are probably going to find some other fantastic things from this tune. This is an amazing tune, and there's so many good chord progressions that you might find something else that you like better. But you always got these 3 in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Leela. That was very informative.
Amazing. Thank you.
Any questions, anybody?
Right.
Feel free to unmute if you want to ask her a quick question. And if you have time, I will play the audio. But does anyone have any questions? If they want to unmute and ask Leela anything?
I've got a question about the interlude. Do you use a mixture of the intro and the outro when you're making your interlude?
Oh, good question. Probably yes. I do, because the interlude, I would say, would have to be, at least 8 measures long. Usually intros and outros are going to be 4 measures long. And I'm just saying, usually there's no rules. Rules are meant to be broken. But if you were going to add an interlude in between a verse of somewhere in the, you might want to, visit it for at least 8 bars, maybe even 16. But 16 is almost sounding like a new piece in some ways. But yeah, that is a good question. You probably want to elaborate on it, and don't just do the same thing, but maybe vary it the second time around if you're going to add that interlude, and do it 2 times.
Thank you.
And then Amy is asking, is there a difference between an interlude and a solo?
Oh, yes, I think so, because an interlude is basically my input into an arrangement, meaning it's mine. I created it around to bookend this tune, to give it a nice little cloud base, to make it even prettier. And so a solo is more of taking this tune and really dressing it up. That's what I would call a solo, and I'm taking that from Bradley Sowash's lead of when you have a lead sheet like this, the first time you're going to lay it out, and then you're going to elaborate on it. So a solo would definitely be taking that tune and really dressing it up, but we still hear the tune. An interlude is not the tune. You've gone away from it.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, Leela. Can we all applaud?
Thank you.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
We do a quick group picture before we leave, and then I will play the audio. And the audio is so beautiful. I listened to it this morning, and it was such a great way to start my day. So if it's morning for you, or maybe it's the evening, it's so beautiful. And I recommend you going on forrestkinney.com website. There's all of these videos and audio clips, and they're just gorgeous. So I will play it for you after our quick picture. If anyone doesn't want to be in the picture, feel free to step aside or close your picture. All right. Say rainbow. Awesome. Thank you. So thank you so much, Leela, for all of that. That was so informative and helpful. And thank you everyone else for joining us. And I'm going to share my screen. And let's see. Can you give a thumbs up if you can hear it? How beautiful is that?
Amazing.
Gorgeous.
Wonderful.
So I just had a quick thought. I'll send you that link. And a great exercise is to if you hear something you really like that he did in the way that he improvised off of the melody, press pause, listen to it again, sit at your piano, see if you can figure out what did he just do there. Sometimes maybe he just did a few chromatic notes to get up to the melody note. So I know it's very hard to sit and transcribe exactly what he did, but maybe if there's a few little nuggets that he did in the melody, you can just sit and try to figure it out. That's
Okay,
a
I
good
have
work.
one. Now I'd go back. I don't know if I would do the Billy Joel with it because I like, right?
Yeah.
That was really pretty. You could have a lot of
Beautiful.
fun with that. I know he's so free with what he does. I can't quite go there. So that's why if I choose an interlude, I'm going to pretty much stick with that and not go away from it very much. At first, you need to just confine yourself. And, he has the freedom to move from one interlude to the next. But I recommend sticking with one if you need to at first. But I love that one. That could make a really cool
Yeah.
intro and outro. So, okay, throw everything else I said away. And
No, we need a starting point. We can't all start like Forrest, right?
yeah.
How amazing would that be?
Yeah.
He had his own journey. He said that he at one point, I think it wasn't at college that he started improvising. I don't think. Well, I think he learned as a child. He enjoyed doing it, but he really got more deep into it in his 20s and beyond, and obviously got to the highest level. But we have to start somewhere. So thank you to Leela for showing us the path of somewhere to start. So I look forward to seeing everyone the rest of the week, and I will send you the recording of today, and I will send you a lead sheet, and you'll be hearing from me all week long. So thank you. It's great to see
Thank you.
everybody. Take
you.
Good
care.
evening. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye. Thank you, Leela. Bye.
Thank you.
It's fun to see people from all over the world, hear all the accents.
Really neat.
Bye.